Well, the Howard Prairie Resort is the, I would say, gem of Jackson County Parks program. We have over 250 campsites, some for just tent camping, some with power and water, and some with full hookups, power, water, and sewer hookups for our large RVs. We also have a 4-lane boat ramp, several marina slips, over 100 marina slips that are available for rent on a daily, weekly, monthly, or seasonal basis, and buoys for some of the larger sailboats as well. Speaking of sailboats, we have a great relationship up here with the Rogue Yacht Club, and it's home to the Rogue Yacht Club's fleet. So we have a lot of, the lake up here is a great regional water facility for sailing. So we really try to cater to the needs of the sailing community. We have a lodge fully stocked with amenities that folks need to purchase while they're up here, and we have a nice full-service restaurant as well. Some of the things you might not traditionally find in a county park are available here as well. We have a fuel station for folks to be able to fuel their boats up while they're up here, propane sales, and even some of the little things that you forget as far as firewood and ice, so we can take care of the needs of those folks while they're here. The Howard Prairie Resort opened opening fishing season this year, which was the 26th of April. Prior to that, for about the month and a half prior to that, we really invested all of our efforts into remodeling the interior of the restaurant and lodge building. This is the face of Howard Prairie Resort. It's where people come to, eat breakfast, eat lunch, eat dinner, buy camp supplies, fishing supplies, and also register for their campsite and make reservations for their campsite. So we really, the previous arrangement that the lodge was organized in was kind of a constricted, just didn't feel very welcoming to the guests. So we put a lot of effort into remodeling that to where it'd be a little bit more open, and when folks come in, they could feel a little bit more at home rather than a guest at somebody else's house. And in doing so, one of the goals was to separate the operations of the restaurant and store from the operations of the campground. Because as you know, Mount Ashland Association is operating the store and restaurant for us. So we put a lot of good facelift into it, flooring, cabinetry, etc., and we've gotten some great feedback from customers so far. This fall, we'll be replacing one of the campground restrooms in the north campground loop of the park. We actually currently have 4 restroom shower buildings here in the park. 2 of them have been replaced in the past 6 or 7 years. The remaining 2 need replacement. We did receive a grant from the Bureau of Reclamation and Oregon State Parks to replace that restroom, and we'll be starting to work on that probably September of this year. A lot of parks programs in regards to counties around the state of Oregon are receiving less and less general fund support. Matter of fact, there's really only about 30% of counties in the state of Oregon that actually fund parks programs with general fund. So as timber receipts and as receipts coming into the general fund have diminished over the past few years, and budget committees focus their efforts on mandated services, programs such as parks are expected to be able to operate like a business on their own. Jackson County actually has a pretty good record of expecting their parks program to operate as financially as sustainable as possible without general fund support. However, we were receiving small amounts of general fund up until 2009. In 2010-11 fiscal year, that fund, or 2009-10 fiscal year, that funding was diminished to nothing. So now we're expected to operate just with the revenues that we generate, a little bit of state revenue sharing from RV licensing fees and from boat registrations for maintenance of campgrounds and boat ramps. But the majority of our revenues for maintaining our parks now are coming from the fees that users pay when they come through the gates to enjoy the experience. Jackson County Parks operates under an enterprise fund, so we actually operate out of the Recreation Enterprise Fund. So all revenues generated within our parks and all revenues received from outside agencies for maintenance or operations or expansion of our parks stay within that fund. There's some pros to that, is at the end of the year, all of the remaining ending fund balance stays in parks and doesn't disappear somewhere else. But there's also some cons as far as we do not receive any property tax revenues or general fund support. We were put on that fund about 4 years ago, or pulled out of general fund support. So we're expected to operate on our own financially. We have 18 developed facilities that we operate. And one of the things that we're really starting to do over the past few years is look at our parks program as a system. Some parks financially make money, some parks financially don't make money. Traditionally, and this is not just in Jackson County but across the state, boating facilities or day use facilities, they traditionally cost a little bit more to operate than we can make just off of a $4 parking fee at some of the parks. So we've traditionally leaned on some of our campgrounds such as Emigrant Lake or the resort up here at Howard Prairie or Willow Lake to help fund the operations of those boat ramps. If you looked at it as truly a business perspective, why would we operate a park that was financially not viable? But they're very important to the economy of the area, to the tourism of the area, and to recreation needs of the area. So we're able to look at our parks as a system and make sure that it is viable and sustainable at a program level rather than each individual park level.